Man after man, return to Monke. How would you feel if your child was genetically engineered with a ruminating gut to eat grass? Where have I seen this picture before? If a creature inherited genetic memory from its ancestors, does that mean it will inevitably be scarred by the memory of its own inception? And are you telling me I can find water in the desert using only these greasy potato babies? Stay tuned to find out, right now. If you haven't seen my first Man After Man video, you should probably go watch it. It covers most of the story of the book, and if you don't know that, you'll probably be really confused. Knowing that this is YouTube and most of you won't do that, here's a really quick summary of the last vid. Man After Man is a book by Dougal Dixon that follows the story of humanity on a dying Earth. To escape their fate, some of the humans genetically engineered species of other humans called the vacuumorphs and aquamorphs that lived in space and the ocean respectively. These people collected materials and built a generation ship, and then some of the vanilla humans went off into space with it, leaving their disfigured cousins that they just leather-faced behind without so much as a thank you. Flash forward a little bit, and now the earthbound normal humans that weren't turned into space eggs or frogmen now reside in big metal machines that keep all of their failing organs alive, only sliding out to reproduce to bring a child into this horrible dystopia. They were called the hitek, and they genetically engineered a bunch of Sasquatch-looking people to refill the niches of the ecosystem that were squished by human activities. The hitek then turned themselves into big tumor people with limbs sticking out every which way that they called the thicc. Then everyone died except for the Bigfoot people because the magnetic poles shifted or some shit. And then the vanilla humans from the beginning came back on their motorcycles slash friends slash pets looking like they did some serious self-exploration and stumbled upon something very dark. They then went Q on every single creature left on the planet, making them into tools, exhausted the environment's resources, and then promptly wandered back off into space. Got it? Good. Now that we know the inevitable fate of humanity, let's take a look at all the humans that filled the niches left behind on Earth and what they were up to while the technologically advanced people were committing crimes against God. Among these human descendants were a variety of dwellers that inhabited different environments. The plains dweller was a large human creature that lived in savannas and subsisted on grass. It had curved fingernails like a scythe to help it gather foliage. From the eating hole, the grass would travel to its ruminating gut to undergo digestion, similar to how a cow eats. The plains dwellers evolved into the socials, and they made friends with another human species called the water seekers. The water seekers mostly died out due to the changing climate of their environment. The only members of this species that could survive were able to find water instinctively. The socials adopted their endangered cousins and cared for them in exchange for their water-seeking abilities. The socials did all the hunting and gathering, and because the water seekers didn't have to do anything, all their limbs and sensory organs became vestigial and shriveled up, leaving them looking like weird faceless potato babies. If a tribe of socials doesn't have enough water seekers, they'll attack another group and try to kidnap their seekers. Also, only one social female can mate and produce babies, and every male in the society mates with them until they can't push out babies anymore or die. Their strict social relationships soon developed into a strict societal structure. They were now known as the Hivers. In Hiver society, you were born with one job that you keep for your entire life. You're either a gatherer, a nurse, a warrior, or a queen. Are you not happy with the current state of upward mobility in our world? Be thankful that you're not the potato baby. This is the Ant-Man. Basically human anteaters. They have long wiggly fingers to stick inside insect mounds and other unspecified holes in hopes of slurping bugs off their fingernails. For all those people itching to eat it, I'm sorry to say that the meat isn't edible as it's filled with formic acid from the ants that make up its diet. Not that anybody's eaten that. That illustration is the first thing I've ever seen that looks thick in an uncanny valley kind of way, and I just hate it. Like a zit that's about to pop. Like if the plastic surgeon took a patient's words way too literally when she said perfectly round. Like for some reason the exact shape, size, and texture of the anthills that they stick their fingers into, and I just had an awful realization and you just had it with me. The Woodland Dwellers were some of the most adaptable of the new human species. They were generalist omnivores like many of our primates today. The hitek thought of them as possibly the most human of all, living in harmony with nature. Some of the Woodland Dwellers evolved into the memory people. They retained genetic memories from their OG human ancestors and could use some of it to help with survival. I'm not sure about that. How does that even work? Because the parent can still gain memories after the child is born. So does every single genetic lifespan's memory cycle end at the soon-to-be generationally scarring moment of inception? Does that mean that every memory person has like an eons-long movie in their brain that's just every ancestor up until they nut to create the next ancestor? Please tell me in the comments that I'm misunderstanding what he means by genetic memories. I'm gonna stop digging for answers now because there's nothing in that vein that I would ever want to find. These are the boat people. Like the memory people, they retained skills from their ancestors and remembered how to do things like woodworking and metalworking. But they also remembered what happened to the species after we started doing those things and would immediately murder whoever did that. Basically an entire species of Amish cultists. The Tundra Dwellers were like migratory polar bear people in the snow. They have toenails that can function like ice picks to help them move around and get to foliage under the snow to eat. This creation is also responsible for this image, where most of you are probably getting that nostalgic feeling from. The Tundra Dwellers' offspring and the Woodland Dwellers' offspring became besties, and now the Yeti-looking guy carries around the smaller guy and the little guy hunts for food for both of them. You know what they say, sharing is caring. This allows the little guy to preserve their energy for hunting while the Yeti guy can focus on covering vast distances. In this new symbiotic relationship, they were called the Symbionts. To any of you who are making a spec zoo project, don't call any two species in a symbiotic relationship a name stemming from symbiotic. Everyone, including this book, which I think might be one of, if not the first to do it, does it. Do something else. That same idea is about to be recycled less efficiently than a plastic bottle due to the spec zoo boom. Never thought this genre would get big enough to have tropes. The Islanders were isolated on an island, no shit, with a very limited food supply. Because of this, like the modern Prius, they became smaller, more energy efficient, and ravenous, hyper-violent carnivores to sustain themselves. They devoured other larger species of humans, like strange anthropomorphic land piranhas. Eventually, they shifted from eating a prey item immediately to slowly draining it over time, and evolved a parasitic relationship with a megafauna of host humans. They eventually acted like a human tick that slurped gallons of red vitality juice from the fat tumory monster man. Humanity diversified into basically every niche that would typically be occupied by another animal. For example, this is the fish eater. It's kinda like a monkey otter. Like an otter, it has a hydrophobic coat to help it glide through the water. But unlike an otter, it does not like to have relations with other dead members of its own species. Actually, I don't know that last part for sure, but I would hope not. It also has a brain adapted like an archerfish, so it could aim accurately when hunting, even with air-water light refraction. They also evolved into the tree dwellers, which are basically just sloth people. These are the desert runners. They have spiked ears like a Pomeranian for internal temperature control, and have humps of fat and water like a camel. I wonder what it would sound like if you slapped it. This thing is known as the Sloth Man. It had no competition or predators, so like the human ancestors of long ago, it decided to get as morbidly obese as it possibly could in order to take advantage of the situation. They kinda look like Snorlax people. This is the spike tooth, a predatory species of human that kinda looks like the end result of a caveman having a few too many fermented figs, waking up next to a saber-toothed tiger and waiting out a gestation period to see how it turns out.